Howdy friends, Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters and the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and welcome back to another one of our fly fishing tutorials. Today I'm going to show you a really cool knot called the improved blood knot. Now this isn't one you hear about very often, and you may never need to use it, but if you're ever attaching class tippet to the front of a leader and then bite tippet and or attaching bite tippet to the front of the leader, this is a pretty good one to know. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, a class tippet, according to the IGFA, the International Game Fish Association, class tippet would be your weakest link. Let's say you're looking to set the 20-pound test world record for a tarpon or sailfish or billfish or what have you. You would attach a 15-inch section. It has to be 15 inches. It cannot be shorter. Okay, so in your leader, you would have a 15-inch, or it can be longer but not shorter, a 15-inch piece of 20-pound, and that's going to make you eligible for setting the 20-pound class world record. And then in most cases, to the front of that, you're going to have bite tippet to protect against either teeth or gill plates or sharp jaws, what have you. In freshwater, you may find this not useful for pike or muskie fishing or anywhere that you need to use a bite tippet. Now that bite tippet, according to the IGFA, can be no longer than 12 inches. Of course, if you're not looking to set any world records, you're probably not going to have a class tippet in there. And the bite tippet, you typically don't want to go too long on a bite tippet because it can inhibit your casting. So somewhere around 8 to 12 inches on your bite tippet. Again, that's to protect against sharp gill plates, sharp teeth, all those things, okay? So the improved blood knot, I'm sure that you've seen my original video on tying the blood knot, where we talk about basically it's two clinch knots butted up against another, and I'm sure we'll have a link right about there for you to go to watch the blood knot tutorial. And this is the same exact knot, and I'll demonstrate it here. I've got a thin piece of fly line, so you can see it here, and a fatter piece of fly line. This would be the end of my leader to where I'm going to attach the bite tippet, or this is my class tippet where I'm attaching it to the bite tippet, okay? And what you do, it's really pretty simple. You double up the thinner piece. In other words, the class tippet or the front end of your leader to which you're attaching the bite tippet. You double that up, leave this single strand, and now you're simply going to tie the blood knot. Now, make sure that you leave yourself plenty of tag in. You really need to use quite a bit of this class tippet or the end of your leader, so allow for that. And now you're just going to tie the blood knot. If you remember, I kind of opened up that angle there, so when you brought this over to make your wraps, it keeps that loop nice and wide open so you can come back through. But here's the trick. First of all, you've doubled up the thinner piece, and now you're going to do 3 turns with the fat piece and then come through that loop. And now you're going to do the standard 5 turns with the thinner piece that's doubled up, okay? And I'll have a hard time getting this to seat with this fly line, but you should be able to at least see what this knot will look like before you seat it down, okay? Just looks like a blood knot, just a little bit more going on with this piece doubled up. Now you're gonna moisten that, of course. You're gonna slide it right down, and it should cinch right up, and you're gonna trim those tag ends. So now you've easily attached a really fat piece of monofilament to a really thin piece of monofilament using the improved blood knot, okay? So let's take a look at this with monofilament, and I should be able to get that to seat down. So I've got 20-pound Maxima Clear, which is 17 thousandths, and then I've got 60-pound Rio Saltwater, which I think is about 27 thousandths. So I'm attaching really thin to really fat, which you really can't do with a standard blood knot, okay? Again, I'm gonna double up the 17 thousandths, which is also the 20-pound. Make sure I've got plenty of the doubled up portion there. And now I'm going to go 3 turns, 1, 2, 3, and then I come up and through the original loop there. Now switch hands, pinch, open up your angle so that that loop stays nice and wide open. And there's 5 turns around, and then come through the original loop. Oh, you know what I forgot? No wonder. I forgot my click glasses. Let me set that down. It's not going to go anywhere. Oh, now I can see it. Okay, so I've gone around 3 times with the fat material, and I'm around 5 times with the doubled up thinner. I moisten that really good, and it should seat right down. And you'll notice it looks like a regular blood knot, but instead of one strand sticking out of the top, you've got the doubled up piece, which should now look like a loop sticking up. And you have to make 3 trims. Now you're going to cut that loop off. You're going to cut the tag end of the 17 thousandths or the thinner, and you're going to cut the thicker, which in this case is 60 pounds. And you've got the improved blood knot, which allows you to, again, attach really thin class tippet or the end of your leader to a really thick bite tippet like 60 or 80 pound that you would use for say tarpon or billfish or marlin fishing. So there you go. It's just a blood knot, but a couple of tricks to it. Double up the thinner piece, 3 turns around with the fat, 5 turns around with the thinner, and you've got an improved blood knot. So as always, thanks for watching. Appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have mountains and mountains of content coming at you. So stay tuned.